to Recently Logged, where we're armed with one word: Tenet. Oh my gosh. What is this episode? Just an auditory assault on the listener?
Sorry, I was just listening to the Tenet score.
Just listening to the Tenet score. Don't mind me.
And you should probably explain the opening joke.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't get the opening joke, I probably wouldn't get the opening joke.
Yeah, but
it is pretty funny.
It is funny if you get it.
Okay, so in this movie that came out in 2020 called Tenet, directed by Christopher Nolan,
yes,
there is a certain quality about the audio,
very interesting,
the dialogue
quality
specifically, in the fact that you can't hear it.
You can't
like
hear
40% of the time.
If it's not John David Washington, you're not hearing it.
You can't really hear the dialogue. That's the joke.
Like the music is literally going like over the dialogue.
Yeah, it's either some ambient noise like so the boat scene, Mike. Yeah, I don't know what they said, but they were saying something.
You're like, what?
What?
Plutonium?
Plutonium? What is this, Back to the Future?
Yeah.
But yes, that is why my voice is being drowned out by music. It was meant to be a fun little jab.
A clever jab. Haha.
A hilarious satirization of the movie Tenet.
Yes.
Which we are speaking about today.
Also, yes.
Also, yes. But yeah. we should say and sync more often.
Obviously.
So wait, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say we should get into the episode and start going over the basic facts.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. Tenet is a 2020 movie rated PG-13. It's 150 minutes, which is why you shouldn't start it at 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
The little IMDb description thing is armed with one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world. A protagonist journeys through a twilight world of international espionage and a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time.
Living in a twilight world.
Okay. It was written and directed by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so until I made the show notes for this, I had no idea that he was the sole screenwriter. Yeah. And I was like, this makes way more sense now.
If Jonathan Nolan was on it, it would probably be better.
Oh, no, probably.
It's cast. You got John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth
Debicki.
Debicki?
Yeah, Debicki.
Okay.
That one tall blonde lady.
Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I can't help you there.
And then I feel like her first name isn't said Dimple, but it's spelled Dimple.
Wow. How American of you.
She's a really big Bollywood actress.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's the guy from yesterday.
I don't want to butcher her name.
Like, it's the guy from yesterday.
Also the guy from yesterday.
Yeah, if you want to see the cast more closely, just go to our podcast description. They're down there.
It was, I guess, nominated for a Golden Globe.
Did it win?
This was nominated for Best Original Score.
Oh, nice. I was about to say, if anything should be nominated for this movie, it should be like VFX or the score, probably. Or maybe lighting. Lighting's pretty good.
Lighting's nice. But yeah, those are the basic Tenet facts.
Basic Tenet facts.
There's not a whole lot to it. It's just Christopher Nolan flexing for an hour.
It's just Christopher Nolan blowing an absurd amount of money on his indie script for an hour.
Two and a half
hours, my mistake.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into our opening thoughts.
Basic thoughts.
Our opening
basic thoughts.
Opening thoughts.
Basic.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first, since you've been talking for who knows how long. You've been going on for hours now.
Yeah, probably hours, decades, millennia.
Well, anyway, before I say my opening thoughts on Tenet,
Before he
I would
says
like
the-
to preface this.
Oh, he's
We have
prefacing
done
it.
one Christopher Nolan film before, if
Another
if my
Christopher
memory
Nolan.
serves correctly.
We did the
Just the
Prestige.
Prestige.
One of his best.
But the like fun fact about my film life is Inception was actually the film that got me like into film, so I have a bit of a soft spot for that. But on the whole, I'm not like a crazy Christopher Nolan
he
guy.
hates Christopher Nolan.
No, I don't hate I like the Prestige. I Dunkirk's pretty great. And I really like Inception still. So I do like his work that I've seen on the whole, and the Dark Knight trilogy is pretty all right, except for the last one. But yeah, so I'm something of a Christopher Nolan fan myself, but not like a crazy fan, you know, not like a crazy frog, Micah. Full circle. Why aren't there any frogs in Tenet? That would have been cool.
Why would there be frogs?
I don't
in
know.
Tenet?
Frogs are cute.
Christopher Nolan's not going to put a
I got
frog in his spy movie.
I just got frogs on the mind. Okay, is that a crime, Micah?
No, but Christopher Nolan's not going to put a frog in his spy movie.
It's his original screenplay. He could have done anything he wanted.
Yeah, but he's not going to. It's his prestigious flick, you know. He
I
doesn't
see.
think frogs are
I
prestigious.
thought the Prestige was his prestigious flick.
Well,
It literally has prestige in the name.
well, that's just too bad.
All right. Well, anyway, what did I think of Tenet?
What did you think of Tenet?
I thought it was a very how to put it. I said to Micah while we were watching it that this feels like a extremely high budget indie flick, given its world building and dialogue. Half of its dialogue being exposition, probably over half of its dialogue being exposition, and just it's very, very self-indulgent and very self-important, I think.
Yeah, definitely self-important.
But that's not to say that it's like completely unenjoyable to watch. Like you're just like watching this guy like just do whatever the heck he wants for a couple hours. It's still relatively engaging. I think I have a couple problems with its pacing, especially around the middle. It can get very spotty very quickly.
Yeah,
That's where I was. We watched this very early in the morning. This morning, actually.
yeah.
Like 1 o'clock, and I literally the only time I was in danger of falling asleep was around the middle. So
Yeah, I actually almost fell asleep in the point that I thought is the most boring of the movie.
yeah, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the pacing, the dialogue, as we said earlier, the mixing, the audio mixing is very, very hit or miss. I don't know. Didn't Christopher Nolan say that? I forget, like, after this came out, he said, like, audio mixing was one of his favorite parts of doing films.
Yeah, he said something
And I was like,
that, and you're like, what?
Did you see Tenet? Because, yeah, no, I think that is actually a very prominent problem I have with it, is I can't hear what's going on a lot of the time. But, I mean, I do have like some sort of auditory problem, so I struggle understanding dialogue in movies anyway sometimes, which is why I usually watch it with subtitles on. But like this is just this is too much. This is not good. On the whole though, I think I still like it. I don't know if I gave it a like when I logged it on Letterboxd, because like I think this is probably his second worst movie that I've seen anyway. Right above The Dark Knight Rises.
You gave it a like.
I did give it a like. Yeah, I was about to say I enjoyed it a bit more on a second viewing.
Okay, but you're saying that Batman Begins is better than this movie, because that's false.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to see Batman Begins again to make that call.
No.
Okay, well but yeah, on the whole, I guess I liked it, but it's got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But mainly, like, its screenplay is not great.
All right, is that yours?
Yeah. I've been rambling on for too long.
All right,
now.
so for me,
ahead.
it's very interesting because I really like Christopher Nolan. I really like his direction and everything.
Yeah, you're a bigger Nolan guy than I am.
If you watch the little behind the scenes thing, which we watched
the
whole
making of Tenet
thing, everything pretty much that went into this. And it shows in the movie. It came across on two sides. Two things is what he wanted to do. He did not. It wasn't tell a good story. It wasn't tell a compelling story.
Yikes!
It was do something cool with film that only film can do with time.
Which he did.
And then you do stuff that he's been wanting to do in his other movies but hasn't been able to. It was just those two things that he came into wanting to do this movie with, and
he succeeded.
It shows so much.
Yeah.
Almost everything in this, like as you're watching this little documentary thing with Bob, it's just like these tiny little scenes in the movie that don't really mean much. He's like, yes, we had to do this. We put in so much planning, so much money. Like the one thing, like the windmill. He talked about how much he really wanted to do windmills after filming Dunkirk.
The little ocean windmills.
And he goes on about this for like a minute, and I'm like, wait a minute. They're at a windmill for like 2 seconds.
It's like 3 minutes of the movie they're on screen and that's it.
And that's kind of the vibe of this movie. It's
that does
Christopher
summarize
Nolan.
It very well. Yeah.
It's Christopher Nolan flexing on himself for 2.5 hours, and it ends up being like an enjoyable experience for me. But I wouldn't call it like
good.
A good story. The story is not that great.
No.
And like you can be like, oh, it's a complex story, but a complex story doesn't make a good story. It still doesn't fully make sense, some of the scenes watching it now. And I don't even think like, not from like an overall story standpoint, but from like a mechanic and storytelling standpoint, I'm like, why was this scene
like, why is it even here kind of thing? Yeah.
Like, or even like that fight scene with spoilers for Tenet.
Spoilers.
The one in the Freeport when he fights himself. Why did he shoot at himself? Like, just stuff that makes sense, like on a first go through, that you're like, yeah. But then as you're seeing it play like, backwards, you're like, wait, what? Why?
Why?
And it just seems like it's so caught up in itself that it doesn't end up making an overall good movie. Like, I still really enjoy it, and I think it's good. I just don't think it's like good. It's so weird. It's just so
unique
film, if you will, but it feels like it shouldn't be anywhere near as long as it is. That's one thing for sure.
Oh yes, no, they could have trimmed out quite a bit of fat in this.
While we were watching this, Robbie made a comment. He was like, I wish they would have honestly just made this into a short film.
Oh yes.
And I kind of agree. I think this thing would have been like amazing.
Christopher Nolan could have done all the stuff he wanted and just made it like 30 minutes or something,
or even like even just like an hour long, something like that. Not anything over like, not anything anywhere near 2 hours, and you could have accomplished showing off this cool like side of film that he wanted to,
which is
using
very cool.
These big locations that he wanted to,
which are very big,
having these cool set pieces and doing all this crazy stuff with time, but not
which are very cool,
dragging itself down with the fact that it has a plot that isn't compelling and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah,
dang man,
I gave it 4 stars, but it's such a weird 4 stars because I'm like, yeah,
I would never give this 4 stars.
I'm like, yeah, I enjoy this, but also I don't. It's such a weird movie. I don't understand it.
Such a narcissistic movie. Like, not necessarily saying Christopher Nolan is narcissistic, but the movie is narcissistic.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's just so into itself, man.
Like. And I wish they would have been like in some of the documentary stuff that we watched. I wish they would have been more like on the production side, being like, yeah, we're gonna do this fun thing because it's fun. But they talk about this bothered me. They talked about this stuff like it was the greatest.
Like it's the greatest thing to happen
ever
to cinema,
happening in the movie.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh no.
But it's not.
They don't realize that it didn't. Like, yeah, these things are cool.
Bro, it's super dope. But it doesn't. Like in the movie, you're just like, okay.
While watching watching the documentary, I was like, yeah, all of these things are awesome, but this movie is definitely not greater than the sum of its parts. The sum of its parts are much greater than the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my basic thoughts.
You summarized it a lot better than I did. But anyway, but yes. Well said, Micah.
Thank you.
Let's get into our next segment. Do you know what it is, Micah?
It's discussion.
Wait, he actually doesn't know.
I don't know what it's called. Is it questions? Is it main discussion?
It's main discussion, parentheses questions.
Parentheses questions, yes.
So anyway, let's get into it.
Yay.
All right, so let's do this.
Do we want to do the parentheses questions or the main discussion?
Wow. Okay. Well, I think we should just open with a question, Micah.
Oh, really?
A simple question.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
A simple question.
Tenet.
No. He just did the hand thing from Tenet.
I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of one of the lines that they say, like awkwardly work Tenet.
Awkwardly work Tenet into the line.
Something like an odd Tenet or something like that. And I don't know. They say such weird things, and at one point, this is just a completely random thought. I just think it's funny because in the movie, in order to get into all these secret areas, you have to say Tenet.
You have to say Tenet.
And then put your hand together with like your fingers intertwined.
It's like a fun theme park or something.
Yeah, you gotta be like Tenet. But at one point, the protagonist has this gun to somebody, and another character walks up and she's like Tenet. And he goes Tenet too, but he like wraps his hands around the gun to do the hand motion.
I swear.
It's just funny.
It's very Christopher Nolan of him.
All right. What's your simple question?
My simple question to start us off: what's your favorite set piece in the movie? There are a lot of very expensive set pieces throughout this entire runtime, and I just wanted to know which one your favorite was.
Honestly, I don't like a lot of them.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say that because the point I almost fell asleep at that I would call the most boring is that big final fight.
Oh man!
And I actually watched this in theaters. I had the opportunity, which I think theaters is the best way to watch.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. I would suggest watching this in a theater, not watching it on the TV.
But even then, like first time watching it in a theater, I was like, wow, this is kind of boring. When we got to that point.
Yeah, no, that yeah.
I think probably just for the nature of what it is, the first Freeport thing, I think it's one of the only like actually interesting set pieces. Because I'm trying to think of something else that's like for like a Christopher Nolan spy action movie. They really don't do much with any of their set pieces.
Yeah, that's true.
And when like even like the one where they go onto the building, it's super quick. They go up there, they shoot a couple guys, that's it. They hop back down. Like there's really just not much to any of them.
Probably cost them like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that.
Right. Which is why like oh right, and remember nobody ever let them film like that in was it Morocco, I guess?
Oh my gosh. And the aerial shots in Morocco. They let
Christopher Nolan do it. All for Tenet. But I think probably the Freeport fight himself scene is just probably the most interesting.
Okay. Micah picks concrete wall facility. Yeah.
I'd say visually interesting.
Yeah, no, that's the probably the best choreographed section.
Yeah, if we were
blocked section.
If we were going visually interesting, that scene in the other Freeport.
Wow. I was gonna say, I actually was going to say the first Freeport scene as well. But I really want to say the car highway thing because it's so cool in theory. It's like a lot of this movie is cool in theory.
Yeah.
But like it's so boring to just watch.
Right?
I'm still so sad
I was
about
never
it.
into the car heist. But like before the thing, Robbie was like, "Ah, yes, the car scene. I'm excited." And I'm like, "Wait, what? The cars?"
Cars?
I was like, that's actually kind of lame.
It's actually kind of lame, bro.
Like, yeah, cars. Like the fact that they did the reverse car thing.
The reverse car flip does look very cool.
Is cool, but like
But
most
who cares?
like I said, this plot isn't compelling. It's not
No.
an interesting story, so most of their action has to be carried on the fact that it looks cool.
Which
not
it
on
does
the
look
fact
cool.
that it's progressing anything.
No.
So you could have these confusing flip-floppity fights over cars where you don't know really what's going on and nothing is really happening, and you know your characters aren't going to die, and you know the bad guy's not going to die. So it's just like, it's spectacle for the sake of spectacle.
Yeah.
And it just makes for not very interesting or compelling fight sequences.
You're making a Michael Bay criticism on a Nolan film, Micah.
Honestly, no, honestly, I've heard people compare this film to, like, this was like the Michael Bay of Christopher Nolan movies.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually.
It's so caught up in spectacle and being just whatever Christopher Nolan wanted it to be that it just isn't doing a good job.
Yeah. But yeah,
So-
I'm probably gonna say the Freeport scene as well. It's just it's the most they, I think, strangely enough, like, utilize the space, which is weird because, like, you have the ending fight, which they don't even do that much creatively with. Like, they have the inverted explosions once in a while, and then that's about it.
Yeah, right. Like the temporal, like they set up this final, like, big epic fight thing in such a cool way, but then they don't show enough of it for
Yeah.
you to be like, they don't explain it while it's happening enough for it to be interesting at all.
And you're just
So, like,
oh, that was kind of cool, I guess.
Like, you go into it and there's like the two teams fighting in both directions of time to where they can get the information on both sides, right? It's the temporal pincer movement.
I can't believe we called it temporal pincer.
But then they don't, like, show you, they don't film it in a way that's showing you, oh, this is how the temporal pincer movement works. They just follow, like, two characters while they're both doing their individual things. So it's just, wow, look at this action scene where faceless, nameless people are shooting at each other and things are blowing up.
It's like watching a boring paintball match or something.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think I thought, like, I play airsoft, and I think I was like, wow, this is just like airsoft. While I was watching this, I was like, it's just
nothing
people
happen-
shooting at people.
Just nothing's happening.
Like, just people, you can't see their face shooting at each other. And it doesn't really,
Yeah.
like, it's just not an interesting climax to the movie. It's
Dang, bro. The more I think about it, the more the, like, final scenes are kind of disappointing.
No, that's what's killer for me with this is I could pick apart this movie all day long because it's such a weird movie, and I don't think
There's
it's
so many weird and bad choices were made.
But I still really enjoy it while watching it. Like, I still, like, I would give it like 3.5, 4 stars, even with, like,
Whack.
me being able to pick it apart like this. I don't know why. I don't know. I get caught up in the Christopher Nolan-ness, I guess.
Yeah, I just get caught up in the Christopher Nolan-ness of it.
All right. Another question.
Another question.
What is your favorite scene or sequence?
Oh my gosh. Dang it, bro.
It's really tough for this movie.
I'm not gonna just say the Freeport scene.
Oh,
again.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Underrated action scene that we skipped over.
What?
The I ordered my hot sauce
Oh
an
my
hour ago
gosh.
action scene.
I mean, it's pretty good.
The cheese grater.
The cheese grater. Oh my gosh.
Ah,
Don't remind me.
Pain.
Pain. That is pain. Dang, favorite scene. If I just had to select one scene to just keep for the rest of my life from this movie, what scene would I pick? I would pick
Freeport.
I would pick the Freeport scene. Yes. The first Freeport scene.
Why are so many of the scenes in this movie, like 90% of the scenes of this movie are like flowy and nothing happens,
Just-
and it's just like thing. Like, it's just stuff.
Just stuff.
It just feels like so much stuff. The Freeport scene is one of the few scenes that feels like it has substance.
I was about to say, that scene, you get the Neil protagonist chemistry going. You get the cool visuals going. You get the awesome choreography going. You got the plane crashing in.
Here's one thing. I'm kind of mad at this movie for the fact that it presents like interesting characters and interesting character dynamics with Neil.
The Neil protagonist dynamic is so cool.
And then they do nothing.
Just nothing.
Like I said, this movie just doesn't focus on anything but what Christopher Nolan wanted to do. Like, it just doesn't focus on its characters. It doesn't focus on the story. So that's why it's so hard to pick out a favorite scene or sequence or anything, because there aren't any like scenes. It's just thing happens.
Thing is happening.
Like, it's just, oh look, they crashed plane. It's not like, wow, plane. Remember that really cool plane crashing sequence with a lot of technical like a lot of planning and like a heist almost feeling sequence.
I love how it goes, like planning heist, immediately next scene heist, and then it's done. That's it.
Yeah, like it doesn't take time for you to be able to enjoy what should be enjoyable elements of the movie. It doesn't take time to allow you to see Neil and the protagonist doing this epic heist for the first time as friends.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I had to watch the scene like out of context, I'm like, so they've been partners for like years, right? And that's it, just the end.
And it's so weird.
Yeah. It's a baffling choice once again.
I don't know. I guess I'll go, because I don't want to just do the Freeport scene. I like the other Freeport scene with the cool lighting.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but like,
I think it's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
but it's cool looking,
I guess.
Dude, what do they do that's important in this movie? Like, do they?
I mean, there's the that's important.
Like, I want to draw on like some Neil protagonist thing, because that's probably my favorite thing of the movie. Is...
What do they even do in this movie? Are they even like in more than like a handful of scenes together? Like, what actually happened?
And when they do, they're just expositioning at each other. Dude, this is sad.
Like, what? Mike is like, I like the scene where that doesn't exist, where Neil and the protagonist have a nice conversation over some crumpets.
Right? Give me that. Like, the elements were there. So many elements were there, and the budget that they had were there to make this like a really good movie all around.
Bro, this could have been my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
Like, writing, like, and this is right up my alley in terms of stuff. I love like this kind of spy movie where it's more like war spy, not like Bond spy.
War spy.
And like, I love stuff with time, and like, I don't know, like, I've always liked Christopher Nolan's stuff. I think he does cool concepts, and when he does it well, it's really good. Really good. Like, The Prestige is one of my favorite films of all time, and I think it does such a cool like thing, and it doesn't just have its one trick, if you will.
Trick.
It's based around that.
Yes.
It's woven into the movie throughout all of it, but you still have interesting and compelling characters. The characters are what drives the story.
You pick The Prestige as characters driving the story. Those characters. So they're a wild time. Like,
I'm not saying they're realistic characters. I'm just saying they drive the story.
Yes. No, it is a good screenplay.
It's their conflict.
The screenplay is motivated, like, driven entirely by them.
And
as it should be.
And it makes for a really compelling and, honestly, by the end, really sad movie.
It is quite sad.
But this the only character
if you tell me you cried watching Tenet, I don't know what to say.
The only character emotion you have is the one lady being like, my child.
My child.
It's like that line. It's like, then the whole world ends and we all die, including my son?
Including my son?
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have another question?
I do. Favorite character, just fun little like fan section. Favorite character in the movie.
I don't know. I think obviously the protagonist is the most well-developed character out of any of these.
Even then, he's not very developed.
So I want to say the protagonist, but I really like Neil, and I really like Robert Pattinson.
Neil is fun, but there's just something like so shallow about him in this, just because they didn't put much into him.
And apparently, according to Robert Pattinson, he didn't even know what he was doing. Like, he didn't know the plot of the movie at all for like half of his filming.
It's okay, Rob. We didn't know the plot of this movie for half of the runtime.
But yeah, like I don't know. I don't think I could choose like Neil or the protagonist. Like probably the protagonist, just because like he's an actually good character. But like Neil and the protagonist seem like John David Washington and Robert Pattinson have so much chemistry together.
John David Washington rocks, bro. He could do it. He could star in a film anytime, and I would be happy.
Right. So ultimately, the protagonist, but like honorable mentions for Neil.
Fair enough. Yeah, probably have to go protagonist.
Okay,
but outside of that, I'm going with the Yesterday guy.
You know, he's actually I like him.
He's a fun guy.
He's a fun side character.
And I love. I just wanted to give him a shout out.
I really like his line delivery for the vegetarian. Do these look like vegetarian teeth? I mean, it looks like meat.
It looks like meat, but.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Good honorable mention. I like him in this. Here's a question. What's your least favorite character? Because I actually have an answer for this one.
Oh, definitely. What's his face?
Andre?
Is that his name?
Andre Sater?
Yes, Sater.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I hate him so much.
Yeah,
and not for the reason you're supposed to hate a villain.
Right? And to preface this for me a little bit, this actor, I actually kind of like this guy.
He reminds me. It's like if Andy Serkis was a proper Englishman.
He's a fun guy. I like him, and I even like him in like Dunkirk.
Yeah, he's fun in Dunkirk. Why not?
Crap, I'm double checking my facts before I say it, but I'm pretty sure.
Relatively certain.
Yeah, he plays Lockhart in Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, yeah.
I love him in Lockhart.
Him as Lockhart.
I really like his voice. I really like his voicing in The Road to El Dorado. Like, I like this guy, but not this role.
Oh my gosh, this character is so freaking annoying.
There's this one scene where he takes his wife. They don't love each other anymore. He takes his wife to his gun running area.
The gun running. Oh my gosh, that
And,
scene. If I could cut a scene from the movie, that would be the scene.
You know, it actually, part of it is cut out in the UK video release version, I think, because they wanted to make sure it got a 12A rating.
Oh, so they cut out the F word in it?
Yeah, I think, and they cut out like him kicking her like that, I guess. I don't know.
Probably.
It's
okay to shoot people in the face, just not kick people.
But like he does this dialogue and just it's so
oh gosh,
not realistic while simultaneously not being an interesting villain, while simultaneously being really annoying, while simultaneously being just so weird.
He's one of my least favorite movie villains like ever.
He's like yelling at the top of his lungs about something like tigers shouldn't be threatened or something.
I hate how he like has adopted like all of the manic energy he could and then put that into like really stilted analogies and stuff like Bond villains do.
Right? Like it was like a Bond villain, but worse.
But really bad.
Almost. Like I mean, most Bond villains I've seen haven't exactly been good. But
like, what the heck? Like he's just always spitting out like these really dumb like phrases that are supposed to be intimidating and like
right, like he's the least intimidating guy, and he's supposed to be so intimidating.
They like build him up as like he like rules Elizabeth Debicki's character's life, and like he like is going to end the world. And I'm like, what?
He's such a joke, and even when he's yelling, like that's the main thing I was trying to bring up is his yelling, and that really like shows like how unintimidating the character actually is, and just like weird, like what the heck is he talking about? Nobody cares.
No, who cares?
And he's like yelling, and he yells in this weird way, and it bothers me so much the way these line deliveries are. And if you've seen it, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you agree. But he yells in this way. He's like spitting. He's talking about like not threatening tigers, and it's just not interesting at all. He's annoying to me, and like I said, I like this actor, and I'm so sad because I don't want to not like this role at all, or even the line deliveries of this character at all. But yeah, he is probably my least favorite element of the whole movie.
I was about to say, if you were gonna say like of the screenplay or stuff like that, I'm like, no, of the whole movie. Like if I could change one thing about this movie, it would be that character. And
yeah.
that would be it. Like that would honestly, I would probably love it so much more if it had a even just solid villain.
Yeah.
Because then you would have like actual motivation to stay invested in the plot,
right.
kind of thing.
Right. Oh, this guy annoys me so much. Like just thinking about like his character introduction and all of the scenes he's in, it makes no sense. And yeah, like you said, he's always just saying these stupid things.
Like just these dumb things
like,
that are supposed to be intimidating.
I grew up in Russia. Uranium something.
Yeah, I dug the uranium out of mud.
I took my opportunity to rise in the new Russia.
What? The new Russia? What are you talking about?
Nobody cares.
No one cares. Like we're not in Russia.
Like if they're gonna make a villain like this, you have to dedicate a lot of time to making a villain anywhere
like,
near semi like this working.
Like, why would Neil care about stopping this guy outside of just he doesn't want the world to end, you know? Like, there's nothing here that relates to the protagonist in any way.
And also, what bothers me on this watch, like this just this most recent watch, I noticed it. They all have like a million opportunities to kill this guy. Like before
so
he gets the last part
it's
to the
so
algorithm.
True.
So the sequence could never go off. So they literally like there's like 15 times
they're
they
just
could
like
have
dancing around it.
They could have just walked up and been like pew
done.
Easy. But just because they wanted all the pieces, they waited till he got all of the algorithms, so then they couldn't kill him because then the stupid switch that I don't even know how he set up.
Yeah, like how would that work?
Like isn't the algorithm supposed to work for the people in the future? Like isn't that how it works? I'm so confused.
I don't know.
Like, and then Robert Pattinson's character is just like, yeah, it probably sends an email out if he dies. Email so the future can read it.
Better hope he has bad reception out on his yacht.
And I'm like, wait, what? How does it?
It's like they say in Tenet 2020. Try not to think about it.
Yeah, but wouldn't it happen anyway? So like theoretically,
exactly.
In the future,
well, they addressed that.
If he would have killed him, like if he would have if he died anyway, which he was going to die, and his little thing sent an email, no matter what, no matter how it turned out, this email would still be sent to the future because the future is taking place in the future. So if it's not the future that triggers it, then why do they care? Why not just
trigger?
Why not? No. I'm saying like, why not just like stop it and then just be like, yeah, boo hoo, you didn't send it. Like, why is the email important? I'm so confused.
I don't know. Ask Christopher Nolan about it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's stuff like I said with confusing. It's stuff like that. It's not the movie when you're watching it that's confusing. Like you can follow the plot pretty easily.
Yeah, no, you can follow it.
But it's the plot details itself that just don't make sense.
It's like Micah said, watching this as a foreign like country where you don't have a direct 1:1 translation.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a nightmare because you would have no clue what's going on.
Because I was thinking about this because we had just watched Inception recently, and we were joking about how the fact that in Japan they had to
They had to mark which layer of the
layer
dream they were
because in
Yeah.
translation, it's a lot harder to
It's
understand.
it's a
the
little harder to
subtleties of
follow
Christopher Nolan's
yeah.
confusing dialogue. I can't imagine how this
Oh my
movie would be in
gosh,
another country.
Yeah, you would have no clue what's going on at any point. Like, just nothing. Who's like, you wouldn't even know who Neil is.
Right? Like this, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
It barely is cohesive in English.
Right? Man. Yeah. All right. Do we have other questions?
The other question I had was going to be asking about the villain, which you had already brought up. So I didn't have any major things I wanted to bring up. I suppose I wanted to bring up the VFX.
The VFX. What VFX?
I wanted to ask you, Micah, as an aspiring fight choreographer, what did you think of the choreography in this on the whole?
Well, like you said, I really like fight choreography, and I really like good fight choreography. But this, again, is like the rest of the movie. It's fight choreography for the sake of, wow, that's cool because they're fighting backwards.
Cool. Yeah, I was about to say, it's so freaking cool that they're like running up the wall backwards and
like
stuff.
It looks really cool. You're like, wow, this must have taken a lot of work. And if you watch the little documentary, it did take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they made these actors film this stuff forwards and backwards, and it's crazy. But in the end, it's not that interesting.
You're just like, who cares?
Like especially, and I noticed this on the second, like when you go back through on watching that Freeport fight scene, it's really not interesting. Once you see the fight one time, whether you're watching it forward or backwards, you've seen it. Like, you're just like, yeah.
Yep, there it is.
That was the fight. And especially with that, if you're watching these fights backwards and you already know the outcome.
Oh my god.
What?
It just seems like it's just so tedious.
It's flopping around. No reason. It literally is two people flopping around against each other. But yeah, like, I would say it's better than a lot of Christopher Nolan fight choreography.
That's
specifically
true.
Like Dark Knight trilogy.
Batman Begins.
Because he actually at least shows it.
Yeah, no, it's a very elegantly shot, at least.
He's not cutting around his action, which...
Oh my gosh, it's
beat
so
up
annoying.
The Batman trilogy for that.
Yikes, man.
So that's something. I think it's an improvement for Nolan, but I feel like the only reason he did it is because he wanted... Like, the only reason he showed it was because he wanted to show the time stuff.
He's doing it for the wrong reasons, Micah. Yeah.
I don't know. And
I just thought it was interesting.
Like, even when they're not doing anything fancy fight choreography wise, like the hot sauce an hour ago, it ends up just being like it's just, you know, it's still mediocre. Just boring. Yeah. It's not anything interesting. It's not anything fancy, and because he's not cutting around the action, he's still not showing it, and he's not filming it in an interesting way. He's just
pointing a camera at it.
It is there. It's not cutting away, but it's just there. So it makes for just like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not anything of note at any point.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up, because I thought it was interesting while we were watching the behind. I think I enjoy the behind the scenes thing more than I enjoy the movie. Just me personally.
Like I said, the movie, the sum of its parts are much greater than the movie.
But I just thought it was interesting because I was like, wow, this sequence looks super cool. Like, not in movie, like when they were doing it in the cardboard box hallway thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's epic. And then they like, in movie, it's just like, wow, this is kind of boring, actually.
Yeah. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's not interesting from a inherent choreography standpoint. It's interesting on a first go through because you're like, wow, that looks cool.
It does look cool.
Because
reversed stuff always looks cool.
He's fighting somebody who's backwards, and that looks cool.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it.
In the end, if you just played it as a straight fight, it wouldn't be very interesting.
No.
Here's a question, though, that I thought of with stuff that you mentioned. What do you think of the fact that they don't use green screen at all for this movie?
Wait, not at all?
Not at all.
What?
No, that was Christopher Nolan. It was announced pretty early in production that they weren't going to use green screen at all.
I remember that. What do I think of that? I think, honestly, I'm pretty against green screen. I shouldn't say against green screen. I'm very for in-camera effects. Like, I want to be a cinematographer, and I think do as much as you possibly can in camera. But honestly, some of the stuff didn't have to be in camera. Like, I don't know, man. What did I think of the no use of green screen?
Like they did stuff like the whole trick perspective cave.
Yeah.
And the
Obviously, not everything is real.
Yeah.
Like they weren't gonna spend that much money on it. Although they did spend an insane amount.
I think it was the estimated budget is like 205 million or something.
It has to be billions, I would think, right? No?
I think it was like 205 million. I think that was the budget.
Really?
Let me check.
Oh. But anyway.
Yeah, 100,000 million.
Oh.
205 million.
I mean, that is very high. I don't know. The plane seems very expensive. What do I think? I don't know. There's just nothing really of note there. I think green screen used in the right context, like to fill out backgrounds or stuff like that. Not solely for background. Like,
yeah.
Don't use it for the whole background.
Like,
but if you're filling out a location, like you need to block something out or something.
Like, yeah. If you don't mind me cutting in a little bit. Like, I don't like in-game green screen where it's just literally all green screen. They literally just shot
the whole movie on green screen.
If they did something like this, they would save a lot of money, but it wouldn't look as good.
No.
But at the same time, green screen or that specific effect of like not inherently just a background screen, but like using the green cutout screen kind of technology,
like they do in La La Land or Roma or stuff like that, where they just are extending streets or stuff like that.
It can be good, and I feel like it just like even like something like Jurassic Park, where you blend. That's my favorite use of VFX. You blend like something real and then make it look better with VFX using like green screen and stuff.
Yeah.
And I wish I can't say I wish that they didn't do that.
Yeah,
but it kind of just plays into the feeling of this movie of where they just did everything because.
I was about to say, because I was gonna say, like, yeah, it looks good, but like, who gives a crap? The movie isn't like the screenplay just isn't like fun to watch or compelling in any way.
So like all these things, like we were saying earlier, like with the windmill and with the bungee jumping off the side of a building. Why did they have to bungee jump off the actual side of a Moroccan building when they're literally there for like 5 minutes and it's just it like, could look just as good?
Who cares? Yeah, like,
and you get these quote unquote like authentic looking movie, but it doesn't really add anything. Like they crash a real plane, but like, and that's cool in theory. And you watch this segment, and they're so excited to be doing this. It's an insane thing.
All the entire crew is like, "Oh, this is so insane."
I'm sure it was amazing to work on. Are you like being there when they actually crashed the plane? But why?
But, like,
why do you need to crash a plane?
Because they needed a way to get in.
No. Well, why do you need to crash a real plane? Like. It doesn't make sense beyond the fact that just cuz like that's
Micah Christopher Nolan played Just Cause 4 and was like, bro, what if I made a spy movie?
This movie hurts my brain to think about the creative process of it.
Like what came that I think that's the problem with Tenet at its core. The screenplay came second. All of his ideas were like, every single time he brings up a concept or idea in this movie, like in the special features thing, he's like, I've been wanting to do this for so long, and then he just does it. And then he's like, oh, but like it seems like at the end he's like, oh, I have all this stuff like running a plane into a building and the sea windmills and running stuff backwards. I guess I need a screenplay to go along with this.
Yeah, right? Like and then it kills me because he sets like in the background is something that could be really cool.
Yeah, the screenplay is actually pretty cool.
Like even the time stuff, even though it's a little weird and kind of stupid at some points. it could make a really cool universe if it was just used as a mechanic and not the story.
Yeah.
The story is, oh, look, time can flow both ways. It's not, and when it could be like everybody jokes like the whole greatest love story of all time joke thing with Neil and the protagonist, but it could actually be a really, really cool like buddy like story about how like their friendship starts for the protagonist and how it's ending for Neil. And that would be so cool.
That would have been such an emotional, cool
that
movie.
That is a cool concept. If you went into it saying, hey, we have people meeting in the opposite ends of
so
time.
Dope, yeah.
And for one person, they're just meeting this person. And for the other person, they've known this person for years and their life is about to end.
It's like if Benjamin Button had a time machine.
Right? If Benjamin Button had a time machine.
That doesn't really make much sense.
No, it doesn't.
But still.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
But yeah, that concept is like so cool. And then
that was an afterthought.
my favorite movie is the one that happens in the background of this movie.
Right? And like I said, you get such strong actors like
the
John
cast,
David Washington.
The cast of this rocks.
And Robert Pattinson. And you give them this stuff, and they do a good job with it. And you start to feel like when you're watching the movie, you're like, yeah.
Elizabeth Debicki slays. And I don't say that lightly.
You're like, yeah, it's this thing, you know? You're like, yeah, this is it.
This is it.
But then you realize this isn't it.
This ain't it. Yeah.
It's just it's sad. Like as a writer and aspiring like I'll say aspiring filmmaker, I want to make more stuff.
You've made films.
I want to make more. I had an idea for a short film the other day.
Is it two best friends meeting each other?
I'm gonna do Tenet, but better.
I'm gonna do Tenet, but this time I'm gonna do it good.
I'm gonna call John David Washington and Robert Pattinson, have them come over to the house.
Bro, who knows? You might actually get Robert Pattinson here.
Right? He might do it. You never know.
As a weekend open or something.
He's just like, what? Yeah, sure.
As long as he's getting paid, I think he'll do anything.
Right. Man.
But anyway, let's move into our closing thoughts. We seem to be coming to a.
Do we have any last questions before we go into closing thoughts? Because I don't have any.
No. I've pretty much asked about it. There's not too much to really ask about with Tenet.
Tenet.
All right, so.
No. Yeah, closing thoughts.
Yeah, let's.
Do I want to close or do you want to close?
You've just been talking for a while, so I guess I'll close first.
All right.
In conclusion. And without a moment to spare. Dang, that's a good episode. Okay, so I'm referencing, what episode is that? I want people to go watch this. The Hall Monitor episode of SpongeBob. Go watch that.
Monitor.
It is better than it has a better screenplay and more motivational characters than the entirety of Tenet.
He's not wrong.
And better pacing too.
He's not wrong.
In closing though, I will probably enjoy Tenet on something like late movie nights or something. Somewhere far, a couple years from now, I'll be like, Tenet. Remember when those crazy kids crashed an airplane into a building?
Throw it in, man.
Throw them in. Why not?
Pop it on.
But then I'll look at the 2.5 hour runtime and put it off another year. But outside of that, there's, like we've been saying this whole time, it's less than the sum of its parts. It really, in just every conceivable way. It's just not that fun to watch. Even though that's really its main appeal, is that it's fun to watch. I don't know. For me, it's always going to be like if I was still rating movies, it would probably still be just like a 6 or a 7, maybe dipping into 5 territory on a bad day. Just because I just absolutely hate the villain in this.
Yeah,
that's honestly the biggest thing I hate about it. But on the bright side, I haven't talked that much about what I like about it. I really like the lighting in it on the whole. It's a really nice looking movie.
Definitely.
The cinematography is not doing too much. from a narrative standpoint, but it does look nice occasionally. So, but yeah, no, if you want to watch Tenet, go watch Tenet. If you don't want to watch it, don't bother.
Yeah.
It's definitely not essential viewing by anyone's standards. But yeah, what are your closing thoughts about Tenet, Micah?
All right, my closing thoughts would be, ultimately, while it has what I would say is like some of the most Christopher Nolan stuff, and he seems really proud of how the movie
he
turned
seems
out.
very proud of this movie.
I think it ends up being one of the most hollow Christopher Nolan movies, even beyond some of his ones that aren't as good and are like less memorable. I think this will be one of the most easily forgotten movies, which is crazy.
Oh, definitely.
Because everybody came into this like Tenet was going to be
it's the movie.
the big thing. Like everybody was super excited. It was like people used to say that it was going to be like 4 hours and it was going to be some like insane movie that like broke all of conventions.
That would have been dope actually if this thing was 4 hours.
And it does do a lot of stuff that breaks convention, but it does it on the wrong side of what it should have been.
It does it for the wrong reasons.
And while you have all of this stuff, and they did stuff that's never been done, and they didn't use any green screen, and they had amazing actors, and they had really nice lighting, and they had interesting concepts, it all just came together to be a spectacle and not an interesting story.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. It's still fun to watch. I probably wouldn't watch it yearly, maybe like every other year. Just to be like, yeah. Because I do enjoy this movie. I do like things about it. I really like a lot of the vibes that they come into it with. I like the kind of spy feel of it. I like the main cast a lot. And I even like the visuals. Like for as much as we ripped on the fact that they do all of this stuff, it is cool to watch.
I mean, it is cool,
but it just doesn't carry a movie.
It's like I said, it's cool, but who gives a crap kind of thing.
So in the end, it's one of Christopher Nolan's worst movies. I think I did in my ranking. I would only put Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises underneath it, not in that order. It would be like Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
Batman
I don't know.
Begins,
I would have to
Tenet.
watch Batman Begins again but I would probably agree for the most part.
And while it has the elements as it keys itself up to be something like Inception or The Prestige or Memento, it doesn't really get what made, I haven't seen Memento, but what made those movies good. It misses like what made them special. It wasn't the fact that, they did this with time or, they had cool visuals. It was that they told an interesting story using time and using these interesting elements.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you wrote Tenet, the book, like the novel, it would be so freaking boring.
But see, with Tenet the novel, they would probably actually go into detail and stuff, and not, because that's the problem. They only have exposition in Tenet. But it's not exposition that helps tell the story. It's just exposition to explain what's happening.
Which is another reason why I said it's like an indie film with a ridiculously high budget, because it just spends all of its time expositioning away its world kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just so wrapped up in what it is.
So yeah, in the end, while it could be really cool, and it has some really cool stuff in it, it's just pretty mid.
Yeah, very mid.
Not awful. I would still give it like 3.5 probably realistically, but just overall mid.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that pretty well summarizes Tenet. And now I never have to think about it again.
Wow.
Wow.
I might have to, because I might do a video on it.
No, Micah. I was all a trick.
It was all a trick.
But anyway, let's what do we usually do?
We do the what we watched.
Oh, right. Let's go into what we watched this past week. Let's do it.
Close your eyes. Make a wish. Count to 3.
Come with me.
Do do do.
In a world of pure imagination. What was that? This goes to show that Micah never discusses his segment plans with me. I'm like, what the heck?
It's more funny if I just don't say
I
anything.
see.
Yeah. What we watched. For those of you who have
Yes.
never listened to the podcast, we go over just a brief thing of what we have logged on Letterboxd within the last week.
Last week. Hey, there's a Talking Heads song called Last Week.
Also, a little plug for me personally. If you have any interest in my channel at all, I have a Twitter poll going on Twitter right now.
If you have any interest.
To decide what my next video will be for next month. And it's tied, and it's been tied for like 5 days.
Tied?
And I think it's just because everybody who cares at all on Twitter that I know has already voted. So,
Wow.
Yeah, go vote on that.
Well, there you go. All right, so last episode.
And check out M. Grayway Films on YouTube.
Last episode we did was Soul, and we took a week off for Valentine's Day. And now we're back. So this is going off
but
of...
shout out to the fact that I watched Shrek in theaters on Valentine's Day.
Dude, I almost said Dode.
Dode.
Very topical. It was a misspeech, but still on topic. I was gonna say, dude, Shrek would rock in a theater.
It did.
It already rocks.
Yeah, it was pretty cool watching it in the theater.
Are you a bigger Shrek fan now, Micah?
Yeah, not really.
No. Well,
Still just as much of a Shrek fan as I was.
All right. Well, but anyway, we're going off of 15th, which was last Monday, not
day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, day after Valentine's Day. But yeah, we that night we watched Micah finally sat me down and watched the Broadway version
2017 version
of Newsies, which is just a taping of the live show. Which isn't even really a movie. I don't even know why we brought it up.
I don't know. I mean, there is a Newsies movie.
Yeah, there's a Newsies
Christian
movie.
Bale.
I want to see the Christian Bale one. Not that I liked Newsies enough to like. I want to see the movie version. I want to see Christian Bale singing about papes for an hour and a half.
The papes. You gotta get the papes.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Update: Robbie Grayway did not enjoy Newsies.
So Newsies, and I told him this going in, really doesn't make sense.
It's almost as dumb as Tenet.
It is almost as dumb as Tenet. I still really enjoy it. The songs, I like the songs for the most part. The set is insane in the Broadway version.
Bro, okay, don't get me wrong. I didn't enjoy the play very much, but I absolutely thought the like blocking, choreography, and set pieces, lighting, that sort of thing. The actual staging of it was awesome.
Crutchy.
Oh, Crutchy.
Oh, Crutchy.
Oh, Crutchy. I'll get you out of prison.
You go to Santa Fe and that leg will heal right up, Crutchy.
I swear, I hope I never have to watch this
Or
again.
did you say, I don't need the leg to sell papes?
I don't need that leg to sell papes.
Yeah, anyway, this movie is, I mean, this musical is really weird, but I still really enjoy it.
It feels longer than Tenet.
I think it is longer than Tenet.
Well, no, this Tenet was...
Oh, no, Tenet's like 20 minutes longer.
I was about to say.
But they're close. But yeah, I didn't rate it because it's musical.
I like Newsies as a musical. If I just was rating the musical, it's fine. Whatever. It's kind of dumb. But the taping of it, I did not enjoy very much.
D. Rosa.
Oh, Franklin Roosevelt. Oh.
What?
No one cares. What is he doing here? Yeah.
Revving my review. It did.
After that, we watched the Looking at the World in a New Way making of Tenet, that thing that we've been talking about, which I do enjoy more than Tenet.
All right. Well, you seem to have logged stuff.
And then I logged... okay, so for those of you who follow me on Letterboxd, you might have seen this. I started a list project thing where I'm doing a big, mega-sized list of all of my favorite movies from every year. Favorite films, rather, because I'm doing feature-length and short film. So I was missing quite a few years.
Wait till he adds TV show.
No.
Favorite
podcast. I already did album. But I watched like a bunch of shorts to fill that out because I had some years where I just didn't watch anything from yet. So yeah, I logged like almost 30 films this past week. So there are a bunch of short films, and I'll give them a shout out if I like really liked them and think you should check them out. But I'm not gonna like go in depth into them or anything. But yeah, in between the Tenet thing and the next film we watched, I watched Bunny, which is a 1998 short film, animated. It was the first short that Blue Sky did. Very good. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. And I also watched, with Micah, Evil Demon Golf Ball from Hell, which was...
Ryan Johnson.
I wanted to say it was Ryan Johnson's first film, but I feel like I saw somewhere that he did one thing before this, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But
Ryan Johnson.
It's very good.
It is really good.
Go check it out.
It's fun.
Also on YouTube, Evil Demon Golf Ball from Hell, 1996.
And that's with 3 exclamation points.
Yes, with 3 exclamation points. But yeah, after that, me and Micah sat down and rewatched Greener Grass.
The 2019 movie, not the short film.
Yes. The short film's quite good as well.
I think the short film's still better. But anyway, yeah, I liked Greener Grass a little better on a second rewatch. It's definitely a very odd movie. I think we should do it on the podcast.
Oh, we should definitely do a Greener Grass episode.
There's a lot you could pick apart in this movie.
Micah, this film has such a layered screenplay. You could honestly probably pick out a new thing every time you watch it.
But in the end, it's funny. It's fine. I don't know. I have problems with it, but in the end, it's just mostly just like a good time.
I honestly, here, let me just read my review. It summarizes my thoughts. A film that's a fantastic and layered statement on suburban life and identity.
It's a statement on society.
As well as an insanely smart and hilarious comedy. Yes, please.
Wow.
It really is, Micah, the more I think about the screenplay of this, the more I'm like, wow, that's actually really smart.
Okay, but like, it also isn't like that. Like, there's a lot of stuff in it that I don't think works well.
Really?
On a screenplay level, yeah.
Really?
As a story, yes.
I mean, I could see that, but honestly, like, I don't know. There's not too much about this that I would change. At any level, really.
There's a lot I would change.
I think it's one of the funniest movies like that I've ever seen.
I wish it leaned more into horror and its comedy horror aspects too.
I suppose.
Especially the ending.
Yeah, the ending is still, I think, the most underwhelming part, and I didn't mind it nearly as much on a second watch. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense, actually, with where the story was going.
On the 17th, I watched the 2012 movie Imaginarium. A movie done by a random rock band that my mom decided to turn on at like 12.
Right. This is the one you said was supposed to be a series of music videos, and then they made it into made it into a movie.
So yeah, it wasn't good on any level. I mean, the visuals were occasionally pretty interesting. Like, that was something. They had some decent cinematography at some points, but the story wasn't interesting. Characters weren't interesting. The VFX weren't good. I didn't like the songs, so I guess I'm not a Nightwish fan, even though I'd never heard of them before. And yeah.
Well, there
it's
you
just
go.
kind of uncomfortable half the time anyway. But yeah, I give it 2 stars. Oh, and by the way, I gave Greener Grass 3.5.
Ah, I see. On the 17th, I only watched short films, but I do want to give it a shout out to a couple of them. Emil Mueller, 1994, is insanely good. It's on YouTube. Go watch it right now. I kid you not. It's only 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Greatest decision of my life.
So long for a short film.
Oh, but it's so freaking good, Micah. You need to watch it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, hurry it up, Ruby. You watched like 30 million short films.
Frog and Toad Are Friends, claymation short film, also on YouTube, also very good. And I watched Charlie Chaplin's The Immigrant for the first time. My least favorite Chaplin film that I've seen so far, and even then, it's still really, really good. But yeah, that's what I watched on the 17th.
On the 18th, I watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is why I said I just thought we would get to it a lot sooner.
Sorry, Mike. I watched like 16 bajillion films.
Which, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, certified classic, certified masterpiece.
It really is. I always thought it was kind of bad as a kid, but like watching it now,
I didn't think it would hold up at all.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
So good.
It's so good.
Like every element of it.
Like
there's
there's
a couple like, I don't know, I guess pacing problems.
Yeah,
with it,
there are.
Which is why I only gave it 4.5. But
it's so good.
It's so good and
crazy.
so memorable. And Gene Wilder's performance is literally like, I don't know, just so much about this is good. The songs are good. The characters are good. The production design's good. The writing's good. Just like, even though it is the less faithful adaptation of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it's significantly better than the Tim Burton one.
Yeah, no,
Which,
definitely.
please, if you've only watched the Tim Burton one, watch this one.
Please go watch the older version.
Please.
It's so much better.
Like for me, like I don't even have that big of a problem with the Tim Burton one, but it doesn't even compare to this one.
Nope.
This is hilarious. It's got an actual good story. It's not awkward like the Tim Burton one is.
Bro, there's some awkward like homeschooler energy on the Tim Burton one.
Right? Yeah, but anyway, yeah, 4.5 stars for that. Masterpiece.
Good take, Micah. Cold take. A couple more shout outs for short films. There's only 2 this time on the 18th. Paddington Goes to the Movies it's a stop motion Paddington film from 1980. If you can find it on YouTube, go watch it. It's very good. And also, honestly, one of the coolest things I've seen in a while that I have to mention is Spacey, which is a 1981 short film, and it's a experimental film that is supposed to play with your senses. And honestly, I felt like I was going blind for like two whole minutes.
Wow.
So I mean, it's like, I don't know. I slapped masterpiece status on my review, and I honestly would stick by that. It's really good. Go watch it.
Wow.
It's called Spacey.
You already said that.
Yes, I wanted to re-say it.
I got another movie for the 18th as well.
Oh, really? What did you watch?
I watched the 80s classic
Cloak
and Dagger, which
I was trying to tune this out while you guys watched.
Which was honestly like I was editing while I did this, so I wasn't giving it my full attention, but it was pretty fun. Like it wasn't aggressively awful like I assumed it would be. It's just, it's cute. It's not doing much.
Is it trying to do much?
Yeah, it's a pretty 3-star movie. I would say that. I gave it 3 stars.
Pretty 3-star.
It's just like it's an 80s movie. It's a 3-star 80s movie with this kid.
That happens a lot. Is that all for the 18th?
Yeah, that was it for the 18th.
All right. No Escape Room.
No Escape Room.
That was the 19th. I meant to say the 19th.
Yes, the 19th. No Escape Room.
We watched 4 different movies on the 19th, so this is interesting.
No Escape Room.
No Escape Room is a sci-fi made-for-TV movie, and for that being the case, that's the jumping off point. I actually really liked it.
I did not.
Well, really liked it is strong. I liked it.
I gave it 1.5 stars.
Honestly, it's kind of.
It was
weird.
like if you took Escape Room, the movie.
I liked Escape Room,
which I wasn't a big fan of, but it was okay.
Yeah.
And then you combine it with like a Blumhouse movie. You get this.
You get No Escape Room.
It's not good. It's boring. It's contrived.
It is very contrived.
They don't explain anything, so
nope.
It doesn't. It's not a satisfying story in the slightest. It ends and it just ends.
That's it.
Like I get like leaving your stories open ended, but that wasn't this. No. This was just didn't explain anything.
They just raise a bunch of questions and then just never address anything.
Like it doesn't explain literally anything.
And literally most of the dramatic tension of the movie is hinging on like what's actually going on here, and then they just never tell you.
And they pull like my phone. Okay, good, it landed on my blanket, so it wasn't like a loud bang.
Well, you moving around and talking is loud.
But like it pulls like a 1408 like ooh thing at the end, and you're just like, what?
1408 is the superior film to this, but not by much.
Oh, there we go. Combine 1408 an escape room
Yeah.
and a Blumhouse movie quality-wise. And then
Are you
get
saying
this.
1408 is higher quality than Blumhouse?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well,
I'd say
I don't know
I'd
if
say
I'd go that
1408 is
far.
like a solid 3.5.
I don't know, man. I didn't like that movie very much.
Anyway, yeah, no escape room. I wouldn't suggest it
Pretty
at
mid.
all.
More
No,
like
pretty low.
mid escape room.
Pretty low. 1.5 stars.
Okay.
Next, we watched the 2015 should-be classic, The Fits.
2015 masterpiece. I'll say it.
Masterpiece.
I'll say it. Who's gonna stop me?
I wrote my review. My review is, I feel like this says a lot. I'm just not really sure what.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like there's so much, like it's kind of like Greener Grass, where the more I think about its screenplay, I'm like, this has to mean something, right? Which with Greener Grass, I'm obviously a lot more equipped to dissect it since I grew up in a suburban area adjacent kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I can obviously pick up on its criticisms of suburbia and stuff like that a lot easier than I can with The Fits.
The Fits, yeah.
But like,
It's so good.
it really is so good.
And it's got such an interesting like production around it too. The more I look into the production, the more I'm like, wow, that's actually really cool. And like you got it's a female writer and director.
Heck yeah.
And it's just like all around it's really good. It just doesn't like it makes sense, but it's like what it does is I don't know how to describe it honestly.
It captures it, bro, honestly. The most, well, not most notable. The most memorable part of this to me is how insanely well it captures the after hours feeling at a public like space.
Yeah.
With us being PKs and like being staying around after events
Spent a
so
lot
often,
of time.
like after like when the party's over, kind of thing.
Yeah, just like cleaning up.
Like that feeling of being in a like a community center or something after hours. This perfectly captures that feeling.
Definitely.
Which is, I don't know, I'll always love it for that because I've never seen another film capture the vibe of that so well.
But I don't know. I described this as kind of like child Suspiria.
It basically is.
But that doesn't really capture. I don't know. There's something about it. We should do an episode on this as well sometime. There's something like
There's just that something about it.
like
you
that
know?
in like and it has to do with like the fits and it has to do with the ending of the movie. But I don't know what it means.
I was about to say I still don't know
but
what
it means a lot.
The fact that it's still like so investing and still so engaging throughout the entire runtime, even though you may not be able to decipher all of it.
Yeah, and then it leaves itself so open-ended, but like in a good way.
Yes, this is the. It really would honestly be edging on a 5 if I was rating it.
I gave it 4.5.
Yeah.
Very, very good though.
Yes, insanely good.
Go watch it.
Go watch
What
it.
is
It's on Prime right now, and
on
if
Prime.
you don't have Amazon Prime, you can watch it on Tubi at the moment
Yeah, go watch
for
it.
free with ads. Which
So for context, we went on the 19th. We watched Escape Room, then we watched The Fits, and then we watched Hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked, my
Heck
man.
yeah, Hoodwinked is so
I think
good.
we've mentioned this on the podcast
we have
before.
Hoodwinked is so good.
We need to do an episode on it.
like
Sometime. It's got
it's
such.
so weird because like the animation is trash.
Oh, the animation is absolute garbage.
like absolutely trash. But like the screenplay itself and the voice acting and like everything else besides
Literally
the animation.
everything besides its visuals is so good. And
It's like-
even then, it has like some really clever visual jokes and stuff.
Right? It's actually like a good movie. Like yeah, there's still the occasional stupid joke. It is still a kids movie. But it's still like it's just so well written for what it is, and it's really funny, and like it shouldn't be good, but it is.
Yeah, no, I cannot recommend Hoodwinked enough.
I gave it 4 stars.
It's quite good.
Then, even later on in the 19th, we watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Heck yeah. A classic rewatch, baby.
A great movie.
Is it gutsy to call this a classic? I feel like it is, right?
No, I don't really think so. Phil Lord and Chris Miller could probably literally make any movie interesting and funny, and they did it with this. And this is one of my favorite of their movies. It's just so good. It's so funny.
Bro,
So clever.
The 3.2 average for this is like criminally low.
Right? Like why
It needs to be like a 4 or something,
right?
like a
It needs to be
3.9
at
or
least
something.
close to a 4, right?
It's so good.
But
yeah, we were killing. In other words, we were on fire.
Besides
on the 19th.
No Escape Room.
Besides No Escape
Fitz,
Room.
Hoodwinked, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Did you watch anything on the 20th?
I did. I watched.
I did.
I watched at least 2 movies.
Oh right, you watched that with me. I forgot.
Yes. I rewatched Shop, a pop opera, which is a short by Jack Stober, which you should go watch. Very good.
Tis very good. Very fun.
I watched it while I was making my sandwich.
Wow.
For lunch, and it was worth it.
All right.
And then I watched Late Spring, which was a Criterion movie. This was also for the favorite film from every year list. I hadn't seen a single film from 1949, which was kind of weird because it's like not even that old.
Right.
And yeah, this is really, really good. I don't know what to say about it. It's one of the saddest movies I've seen in a while, I think. What is it with me watching like sad like Japanese and Korean films while you're gone? Like I watched Aikiru.
And then you're like, 5 stars, bro. It's the best thing
I watched
ever.
Aikiru, and now I watched Late Spring, and they're both really, really sad. Except for Aikiru is I'm sad about dying. Late Spring is I'm sad about being single kind of thing.
Wow. All right.
Which I can relate to that.
Oh my gosh. Then later on the 20th, we watched The Farewell.
The Farewell, baby.
Which is a masterpiece.
We did an episode on it a while back.
We did do an episode on it, but it's still so good.
It's still insanely good.
I'm gonna do a video essay on it at some point.
Name another
can.
movie.
Okay.
That's 5 stars with a singing dog in it, Mike.
None. Okay,
not
though.
single.
Okay, though. For those of you who watch on YouTube and you're like, "What? There's no The Farewell video."
There's no Farewell episode.
It got taken down, and I'm really sad because I really want to do a video essay about The Farewell, but for some reason, copyright is just the most strict on The Farewell. Like you do, like you slap anything from The Farewell up there, and you're probably gonna get blocked.
Yeah, I was about to say our episode got taken down on YouTube, and we don't even use any footage or anything from the movie. We have the poster on the screen as a static image for the entire runtime.
I think I did a video that used the trailer.
Probably the trailer footage,
for when I watched it. Like did a what I watched thing.
Yeah.
And it got blocked.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I was about to say The Farewell is, in case you're looking for the Farewell episode, go to our Anchor profile or something. If you're just strictly a YouTube listener and just want to listen to the Farewell episode, go to our Anchor.
Yeah, The Farewell
and listen to it there.
Is amazing. And I really want to do a video
good,
about it. But I'm just sad because like you can't get, and I feel like that's why it's such a like one of the like a not well known A24 movies, is because it's just you can't find anything about it anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, go watch The Farewell.
Yeah, it's very good.
I gave it 5 stars.
I would probably give it 5 stars as well.
Then on the 21st, we watched A Little Princess. For a bit of context, one of my friends was in a theater troupe that I actually used to do. I want to do it back, but I would.
You used to be a thespian, Mike?
We didn't have the money for it this year. But anyway, they performed A Little Princess as their musical. And then my mom found out that it was a movie, and then Robbie found out that it was directed by Alfonso Cuarón.
I love his stuff, man.
So then we watched it.
Long story short, we watched it.
I'm not a big Alfonso Cuarón fan. He's directed one of my least favorite Harry Potter movies, and I didn't like Gravity.
Dang. I don't know how you...
But,
dang.
I think this is probably one of the best instances of his direction actually working for me in the sense of, like, a fairy tale.
I guess.
But, like, it's not that great of a movie. I just thought, like, actually from, like, an Alfonso Cuarón point of view, this is probably my favorite Alfonso Cuarón movie.
I was going to say this is my least favorite movie from him. It's not bad by any stretch, really. I mean, it's just pretty... It's pretty good.
Well, I dislike the other 2 movies of his that I've seen, so...
Yes, you do, Micah.
I gave A Little Princess 3.5. It's like 3.5 range.
It's like, yeah, I was about to say, it's if you could go in between a 3 and a 3.5, that's where it stands, I think.
Also, on the 21st, I watched Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams.
When did you watch this?
Technically, I'd been watching it in, like, bits and pieces throughout.
Lame.
But...
Weak.
This isn't like I wasn't just gonna sit down and like watch Spy Kids 2. I mean, it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. If you don't think Spy Kids 2 is the best Spy Kids movie, you're wrong.
It's a better spy movie than Tenet.
It is a better spy movie than Tenet. Yeah, Spy Kids 2 is my childhood, and I love it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Then on the 21st, I watched Pan's Labyrinth, which is literally probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and is amazing and sad and amazing and amazing.
Well, there you go.
And yeah.
Are we going to do Pan's Labyrinth someday, Micah?
Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not sure I would have too much to comment. I would be like, wow. Look at this movie. It's so good. And it has all these good elements.
It's good. Who'd have thought?
And then on the 22nd, we watched Tenet.
I was about to say, we watched it a mere hours ago.
Honestly, it was like... What would that be?
Doing the math. Like,
it was only like 8 hours ago since it ended.
Like 8 hours ago, something like that.
Dang.
Yeah, we didn't get much sleep.
No, we did not.
But you know what we're gonna do, Micah?
Take a nap.
We're gonna end the episode. We're gonna take a nap.
I have work to do. What am I saying?
But yeah, I had been wanting to do like an outro segment, but we're pushing the hour and a half mark as it is. So.
We gotta hit the 2.5 hour mark so people will click on this thinking it's the movie. We'll just do that a cappella for an hour and a half.
For an hour and a half. No, we'll just get one loop of you doing it and then like reverb. Wow. But yeah, that was Tenet. That was what we watched this week. If you got...
Go watch it all.
Yeah, go watch it. Form your own
opinion. Except for No Escape Room.
Do it.
Don't give it your time.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, it's fine.
Watch the rest of them.
You know what I said after we finished watching Escape Room, or No Escape Room rather.
What?
I said that would be a good like Halloween movie night movie where you could just sit around and like talk over it with your friends.
Wow. So like a Halloween party movie.
Yeah, like a Halloween party. Like you just turn that on. You're like, because it has some creepy stuff. Occasionally it is kind of gory, and you're like, yeah, we're getting into it, and then that the end. You can comment on how dumb it is.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good February.
Have a nice life.
Have a nice life. Yeah.
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 Wow.
I'm the protagonist.
The protagonist?
The protagonist.
I'm an amateur protagonist.
You're a protagonist.
Oh my gosh. Don't remind me, Micah. Don't remind me.